Hello, everyone. Uh, stop. Just stop right there. I know exactly what you're doing. You're sitting there, maybe with your phone in your hand, maybe staring at a name on a screen, or just letting a memory play on a loop in the back of your mind. There's a pull, isn't there? A magnetic, almost overwhelming urge to reach out, to touch that situation again, to send that one message that you think will finally fix everything, or to pull that person back into your orbit because the silence has become too loud to bear. But I need you to hear me, really hear me, before you take another step. There is a scary truth sitting right beneath the surface of this desire, and it's something your own intuition has been trying to whisper to you while you've been busy making excuses. Welcome back, it's Anna, and we need to have a very real, very grounded, and perhaps a bit of a difficult conversation today about the difference between a connection and a cage. This feels important, really important. I've titled this Run, Don't Walk, because sometimes our hearts move at a pace that our wisdom just can't keep up with. We see a spark, a tiny glint of what used to be or what we hope could be, and we want to grab it with both hands. We forget that sparks can burn just as easily as they light the way. The scary truth I'm talking about isn't some message from the beyond or a supernatural warning. It's the grounded, psychological reality of what happens to you when you touch something that isn't ready for your light. It's about the cost of re-entering a space that you've already outgrown. I want to ask you something, and please be honest with yourself in the comments, because this is a safe space for that honesty. How many times have you touched a situation you knew was cold, hoping your warmth would be enough to change the temperature? It's possible that lately you've been feeling a frantic energy. Maybe you're sitting at your desk and you find yourself constantly checking a specific profile or rereading a text thread from 3 weeks ago, looking for a sign of life, a hidden meaning, or a reason to believe things are different now. It can feel like an itch you can't scratch. Some people experience this as a sudden, impulsive need to fix things, to have one last conversation, to finally get that closure we all talk about. But let's pause for a moment. In some situations, closure is just a polite word we use for one more chance to be hurt. The scary truth is that before you touch them, before you re-engage with that specific energy, you have to ask yourself, am I reaching out because I love them or because I'm afraid of the silence they left behind? Hold on, let me slow down for a second. I'm not sure why, but this feels important. I'm noticing a pattern of someone who is always the healer. You see a crack in someone else, and your first instinct is to fill it with your own gold, your own time, your own peace. But Run, Don't Walk is a reminder that some cracks are actually drains. If you touch them, you don't fix the crack, you just lose your gold. You end up empty, wondering where all your vitality went, while the other person or the situation remains exactly as it was. Think about a real life moment. You're at home, it's late, the lights are low, and you're staring at that send button. Your heart is racing, you feel a tightness in your chest. That isn't excitement, sweetheart. That's a warning. That's your body's nervous system telling you this isn't safe for our peace. Some people experience a sudden weirdness when they get close to certain people or certain memories, a feeling of being drained before the conversation even starts. If you notice that you have to prepare yourself mentally, emotionally, physically, just to interact with someone, that is the scary truth right there. You shouldn't have to put on armor to receive love. You shouldn't have to hold your breath to be understood. Trust your inner knowing. Take what resonates and leave the rest. You remain in control of your choices. And right now, you have the power to keep your hands to yourself and your heart in its own sanctuary. I want to ask another question for the comments. What is the one warning sign you've been calling chemistry lately? Let's sit with that for a moment. I feel like there's a specific situation involving a work decision or a creative project where you're tempted to go back to an old partner or an old way of doing things because it's familiar. But the truth, the brutal, scary truth is that familiar isn't always healthy. Sometimes familiar is just a comfortable type of pain. It's a routine that doesn't require you to grow, but it also doesn't allow you to heal. You may notice that every time you touch this situation, you end up feeling smaller. You end up doubting your own value. You end up rereading your own words and wondering why you said them, feeling that immediate wave of regret. Why are we so afraid to run? We're afraid that if we walk away, we'll miss the moment they finally change. We're afraid they'll give someone else what they refuse to give us. But look at the reality. Look at the grounded, concrete facts in front of you. Has the behavior changed? Has the silence been broken with anything other than more silence or empty promises? This reflection invites you to consider, what are you actually holding on to? Is it the person, or is it the idea of who they could be if they just listened to you? Is it the job or the potential of the job that never seems to manifest? Run, don't walk means move toward yourself. It means take all that energy you were going to use to touch them and use it to touch your own life. Buy the thing you've been putting off. Go for the walk you've been too tired to take. Finish the project that's been sitting on your desk gathering dust. I'm not sure why, but this feels important, really important. Your life is happening now. It isn't on hold until someone else decides to show up or decide how they feel about you. I feel like someone is struggling with the urge to check in. You want to see how they are. You want to be the bigger person. But in some situations, being the bigger person means being the one who stays away. It means respecting the distance they've created, and more importantly, respecting the peace you've started to build in their absence. Let's pause. What if the scary truth is actually the best news you've ever heard? What if the truth is that you don't need to touch them to be whole? What if the truth is that the moment you stop reaching, you finally find your balance? Take a deep breath. You may notice a shift in the coming days, a moment where the urge to reach out is replaced by a quiet, steady sense of relief. It's like a fever breaking. You'll look at your phone and you won't feel the need to check a notification. You'll hear their name or see a place you used to go together, and you won't feel that jump in your stomach. That is your power coming back to you. I want to invite you to consider one last metaphor. Imagine you're standing in front of a beautiful, ornate door. You've been knocking for years. Your knuckles are bleeding. You're exhausted, and then you stop. You take a step back, and you realize there are no walls on either side of the door. You could have walked around it the whole time. The scary truth is that you were never locked out. You were just obsessed with the door. I'm curious, what does walking around the door look like for you this week? Does it look like a new hobby, a different routine, a quiet night in with a book where you actually turn your phone off? Let me know in the comments. I love those grounded, real life details. You remain the narrator of this story. You are the one with the feet that can run and the heart that can choose. Don't let anyone or any memory make you feel like you're stuck in one place. Trust your inner knowing. If it feels weird, it is. If it feels scary, pay attention. If it feels like you're losing yourself, run. I'm not saying this to be dramatic. I'm saying it because your time is the most valuable thing you own, and you are currently spending it on something that isn't paying you back in peace. Sometimes we think that by touching a situation again, we can rewrite the ending. We think if we just say it differently this time, or if we show up with more love, the outcome will change. But in some situations, the ending has already been written. The scary truth is that you're trying to add a chapter to a book that is already on the shelf. Let it stay there, start a new book. I feel like someone is rereading a text message and trying to find a secret sign that they should reach out. Stop. If you have to look that hard for a sign, the sign is actually the silence. The sign is the fact that you're looking. A healthy connection doesn't require a magnifying glass. Think about the tension you feel right now. Where is it? In your neck? In your gut? That tension is your body's way of keeping a secret from your mind, the secret that you already know you should leave it alone. The brutal news is that you're the only one who can enforce the boundary. No one is going to come and save you from your own impulses. You have to be the one to turn the car around. You have to be the one to put the phone in the other room. It's possible that you're afraid that if you run, you'll be the villain in their story, but you have to be willing to be the villain in someone else's story if it means being the hero in your own. You cannot sacrifice your mental health on the altar of someone else's comfort. Let's sit with that for a moment. Take what resonates. Trust your inner knowing. You are empowered, you are aware, and you are exactly where you need to be to make a different choice. The scary truth spirit, or rather your own inner spirit, wants you to know is that you are already free. You just haven't started walking yet. Thank you for being here with me. It's been Anna, and I am so incredibly proud of the work you're doing to protect your own heart. It isn't easy to look at the scary truth. It isn't easy to admit that a situation we loved is no longer good for us, but it is the most rewarding work you will ever do. I'll be in the comments reading your reflections and your walking around the door moments. Remember to take what resonates and leave the rest. You are safe. You are powerful. You are free. I'll talk to you soon. Goodbye for now. Stay in your power, and remember, run, don't walk toward the version of you that is at peace. One last thing before I go. Let's pause. I want you to realize that the scary part of the truth is only scary because it's new. Once you step into it, once you decide that you are no longer available for situations that drain you, that scary feeling turns into a profound, unshakable strength. You begin to realize that you are the architect of your own atmosphere. If the air feels heavy, you are the one who can open a window. If the room feels dark, you are the one who can step out into the sun. You don't need permission. You don't need a sign. You don't need a revelation. You just need to listen to that small, quiet voice that has been saying enough for a long time now. In the coming days, you might feel a pang of loneliness. That's okay. Loneliness is just the space where your self-respect is growing. Don't rush to fill it with the same people who made you feel lonely in the first place. Sit with it. Breathe into it. Notice how much bigger you feel when you aren't trying to fit into a space that was too small for you. I feel like someone is finally breathing a real sigh of relief as they hear this. Like a weight they didn't even know they were carrying has just been lifted. That's the truth working. That's the news you needed to hear. You are enough. You were always enough. And you don't have to touch anything that makes you feel otherwise. I'll see you in the comments. Be kind to yourself today. Take a deep breath and just exist without the need to fix, without the need to reach, without the need to prove anything to anyone. Talk soon. Bye.